Well, right now we're going to jump onto a trending topic here on Property Tribes TV, and we are talking new Section 21 directives that came from government only this morning. And joining me to fill us in on the detail is landlord, tenant and property lawyer David Smith, and also policy director of the RLA. And David, what exactly was announced this morning?
So the government had already given us draft versions of the new standardised Section 21 notice that comes with the Deregulation Act. The final version has been laid before Parliament today, so we've finally seen the version people will have to use. There's some good things and some bad things in it. So it's now clear that landlords will have to provide a gas safety certificate and an EPC and the government's how to rent guide to tenants before they can serve a Section 21.
Okay.
Obviously, hopefully the EPC and the gas safety certificate were things they would always have done anyway.
Of course.
But the how to rent guide is new. The good news in that is the how to rent guide does not have to be given on paper. If the tenant has given you an email address for service, you can email it to them, which was something we were pushing government for to avoid chopping down any more trees to satisfy the private rental sector. So we're quite pleased about that. The other thing that's useful is that there's now complete clarity in the regulations that the new version of Section 21 only applies to tenancies that commence on or after the 1st of October, whether they're new or renewed, and it has no application to any tenancy that is a stat periodic after the 1st of October if it started before the 1st of October. The previous bits of the Act were not very clear about that. There was a bit of bad wording in there. These new regulations are crystal on that point, so we're now very clear about who it applies to and who it doesn't. So we're pleased by that. It's a single form, which will help some landlords. The only downside about it is the old saving provision in Section 21 4A is not there anymore, so landlords will have to get the date right. But that's a lot easier now, because the vast majority of landlords don't need to serve a Section 21 4A notice after the Supreme Court decision in Spencer versus Taylor, so most landlords won't mind much either way. Most of the rest of it is telling tenants about their new rights, and that is what it is. There's no point complaining about that now. It is the law.
It's in statute, and I think the key sort of differentiator there was the right to rent guide, and we'll pop a link under this video where landlords can go and download that, because that's on the government website, isn't it?
Yeah, and the how to rent guide, we understand, is going to be amended to take into
right to rent.
The how to rent guide. It is going to be amended, though, we believe, to take into account the changes in the Immigration Act and the right to rent. But the good news is you only have to give it once. So once you've given the how to rent guide, even if it changes, you don't have to give a new copy to the tenant. You just have to give them the right one at the time that you send it. So landlords don't have to keep rereading the how to rent guide, because it's not the most fascinating of reads, I'm afraid.
Okay, so more evidence that the government is looking to make landlords more professional and more protection for consumers.
Yes, I think that the balance is certainly changing. It appears that the government is listening, because they have listened to some of the comments we've made about this, but there are some things that are not up for discussion, and it's quite clear that certainly increased information to tenants and increasing certain protections to tenants, certainly remain the clear agenda.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for sharing those updates on Section 21 with the Property Tribes community. Thank you, David.
Thank you.